Dad Quiet Revenge.
Victoria stopped my wife right at the glass entrance of Riverside Manor and said something I'll never forget. Everyone agreed Mom isn't welcome here. It was my son's wedding, and the person she was turning away was the groom's own mother. I stood there holding the envelope with the final payment, $85,000. That was the moment I realized what I was really dealing with. My name's Howard Bryant. I'm 58, and I spent 35 years as an engineering consultant. When you work in engineering that long, you learn to spot system failures before they happen. But I never thought I'd need those skills for my own family. Nathan looked at us for a moment, then spoke like this was perfectly normal, Dad. Maybe it's best if Mom goes back to the hotel and rests. That's when I understood, sometimes what gets pushed out of a wedding isn't just a person. It's everything you thought you knew about your family. Let me back up and tell you how we got to this point. 2 months before the wedding, I started noticing things didn't add up. Nathan had asked me to cover the wedding costs because his restaurant wasn't doing well yet. Fair enough, Barbara and I raised him to work hard. But sometimes you need help getting started. The original budget was $65,000, reasonable for what they wanted. But then the bills kept coming. Upgraded venue, premium catering, professional photography team, live band instead of DJ. Each time Victoria would call with that sweet voice of hers. Howard, I hope you don't mind, but we found this amazing photographer. It's only $3,000 more, and Nathan really wants his wedding to be special. What father doesn't want his son's wedding to be special, right? By the time we reached $85,000, I was getting concerned. That's a significant chunk of my retirement savings. But Victoria assured me Nathan would pay me back once his business took off. She even offered to handle all the paperwork to make things easier for me. That should have been my first red flag. Barbara was in the kitchen making dinner when I got the call from First National Bank. The customer service rep was polite but confused. Mr. Bryant, we're calling about the credit account application. We need to verify some information with your wife. What credit account? I asked. The one opened 2 weeks ago under Barbara Bryant's name for $35,000. I set down my coffee cup carefully. In 35 years of marriage, Barbara had never opened a credit account without discussing it with me first. We're the kind of couple who talks about every major financial decision. Barbara's 55, same practical mindset I have. Can you tell me more about this account? The rep pulled up the details, application submitted online, signature on file, immediate approval due to excellent credit history. The money had already been withdrawn for what was listed as wedding and family expenses. After I hung up, I walked into the kitchen. Barbara was stirring a pot of soup, humming softly like she always does when she's content. Barb, did you apply for any credit cards recently? She looked up, surprised. No, why would I? That's when I knew we had a problem. I've spent decades analyzing systems, finding weak points, understanding how things work. So I did what I always do when faced with a problem. I gathered information. I pulled our credit reports, reviewed bank statements, and made some phone calls. What I found made my blood run cold. The signature on the credit application wasn't Barbara's. It was close, but I've seen her handwriting every day for 35 years. Someone had practiced it, but they hadn't quite gotten the way she loops her B in Bryant. The $35,000 had been spent on things that weren't in our original wedding agreement. A videographer to document every precious moment. A luxury car rental for the bridal party. Premium bar service. Professional makeup and hair teams. All the extras that would make Victoria look like the society bride she wanted to be. I made an appointment with Philip Anderson, an attorney who specializes in financial fraud cases. Philip's been practicing law for 30 years, and he's seen every kind of scheme you can imagine. Howard, this is pretty straightforward identity theft. He said after reviewing the documents, your daughter-in-law forged your wife's signature to fund her dream wedding. The question is, what do you want to do about it? I thought about that for a long time. Nathan was my son. He's 32 now, and I taught him to throw a baseball, helped him with homework, walked him through his first heartbreak. But he'd chosen to stand by and let his wife steal from his own mother. I want to file a civil lawsuit, I said, and I want to coordinate it with something else. Philip raised an eyebrow. What did you have in mind? I'm going to pull my funding for the wedding, all of it. Right during the ceremony. That's going to create quite a scene. Good. Victoria values her image above everything else. Let's see how she handles having that image destroyed in front of all her society friends. The week before the wedding, I did my homework. I confirmed that my name was still on all the vendor contracts. I had the legal right to cancel payment at any time before final services were rendered. I also confirmed that the venue required payment in full before the reception could proceed. I didn't tell Barbara about my plan. She would have tried to talk me out of it, and honestly, she would have been right to try. But sometimes you reach a point where being right matters more than keeping the peace. The day of the wedding, Barbara spent 2 hours getting ready. She bought a simple blue dress at Nordstrom's and asked me 3 times if it looked appropriate. I don't want Nathan to be embarrassed by us, she said. Looking back, that comment breaks my heart. My wife, who raised our son with love and sacrifice, was worried about embarrassing him. Meanwhile, his wife was stealing from us to pay for her fantasy wedding. Riverside Manor is one of those places that looks like old money even though it was built in 1987. Rolling lawns, white columns, the kind of venue that shows up in society magazines. Victoria's family chose it because appearances matter to them. What they didn't know was that appearances were about to work against them. When we arrived, I could see this wasn't going to be the wedding Barbara and I had originally planned. There were ice sculptures, a champagne fountain, and enough flowers to stock a florist shop. Every detail screamed expensive, and I was paying for all of it with money I'd saved for 35 years. Victoria met us at the entrance wearing a dress that probably cost more than most people's cars. She looked at Barbara with the kind of smile you give someone you're about to fire. "Barbara, you look nice," she said. "But I think there might be a misunderstanding about today." "What kind of misunderstanding?" I asked. Victoria's smile got tighter. "Well, we've had to make some adjustments to the guest list. The venue has limited capacity, and we have some very important people attending. My father's business associates, some local politicians, people from the country club." Barbara stepped closer to me. I could feel her confusion. "Victoria, I don't understand. We're Nathan's parents. Of course you are. And we appreciate everything Howard has done to make this day possible. But this is really more of a networking event for our family's businesses. The atmosphere needs to be just right." That's when she said it. Everyone agreed Mom isn't welcome here. I looked around and saw Nathan walking toward us. My son, who I'd taught to change a tire and balance a checkbook, was about to choose his wife social climbing over his own mother. "Dad," he said, "maybe it's best if Mom goes back to the hotel and rests. There are a lot of people here she doesn't know. She might feel uncomfortable." Barbara just stared at him. I was planning to sit in the back. "I don't need to be in any pictures." Victoria shook her head. "It's not about where you sit. It's about the overall impression. These people judge everything: who's here, how they're dressed, how they fit in. We can't afford to have anything that doesn't look right." I've been in tense situations before, budget meetings where millions were on the line, project reviews where careers hung in the balance. But I'd never felt fury like this. Not anger fury. The cold, calculating kind that makes you dangerous. "I understand," I said calmly. Victoria looked relieved. "I knew you'd be reasonable." Nathan said, "You're a practical man." "I'm practical," I agreed. "That's why I always read contracts before I sign them." I pulled out my phone and called the venue manager, Gerald. "This is Howard Bryant. I need to make a change to the payment arrangement for the wedding tonight." Gerald Matthews had been expecting my call. "We discussed this possibility 2 days earlier. What kind of change, Mr. Bryant?" "I'm withdrawing as the paying party. Effective immediately." Victoria's face went white. Nathan looked confused. "Dad, what are you doing?" "I'm being practical, son. The person whose name is on all these contracts is me, and I've decided I'm no longer comfortable funding an event where my wife isn't welcome." Gerald's voice came through the phone loud enough for everyone to hear. "Mr. Bryant, if you withdraw payment now, I'll need to suspend services immediately. The catering, music, bar service, everything stops until we have a new payment guarantee." "I understand. Please proceed." Victoria grabbed Nathan's arm. "Do something." But Nathan didn't know what to do. He'd never handled money this big before. His restaurant barely broke even most months. The kind of cash flow needed to cover $85,000 on the spot. He might as well have been asked to fly to the moon. I made my second call to Philip Anderson. "Phil, it's Howard. Execute the filing." "Civil lawsuit for identity theft and financial fraud," Philip confirmed. "Barbara Bryant versus Victoria Peterson. I'll have the papers filed within the hour." Victoria's eyes went wide. She knew exactly what that meant. "You can't sue me. I'm family." "You stopped being family when you forged my wife's signature," I said. "The bank has the documents. They're very interested in prosecuting financial fraud, especially against elderly victims. The beautiful thing about working with systems for 35 years is you learn to think 3 steps ahead. While Victoria was trying to figure out how to handle the wedding crisis, she was about to discover that her credit rating was about to be destroyed and she was facing potential criminal charges. Gerald appeared at our side looking uncomfortable. "Mr. Bryant, I need to inform the other vendors without payment guarantee. They'll start packing up." I nodded. "That's fine. Send the bill to Nathan or Victoria. It's their wedding now." Nathan looked panicked. "Dad, I don't have $85,000. My restaurant's cash flow is barely positive." "Then I guess you should have thought about that before you let your wife steal from your mother." Victoria was on her phone, probably calling her father. Rich people always call their families when the money runs out. But her father was about to get a very interesting call from his attorney about his daughter's legal troubles. Barbara touched my arm. "Howard, let's just go." She was right. We'd made our point. As we walked back to our car, I could hear the chaos starting behind us. Vendors asking questions, guests looking confused, Victoria's voice getting higher and more desperate. The drive home was quiet. Barbara stared out the window for a long time before speaking. Did she really forge my signature? Yes. For $35,000. Yes. Another long silence. What happens now? I pulled into our driveway. Our house is nothing fancy, a 1970s colonial in a middle-class neighborhood, but it's ours, paid for with honest work and careful saving. Now Victoria learns that actions have consequences. The lawsuit will go to court. She'll either settle or face a judge. Either way, she'll pay back every penny plus damages. And Nathan, that was the hard question. Nathan made his choice tonight. Maybe he'll learn from it. The next morning, my phone started ringing early. First call was from Gerald Matthews at the venue. Mr. Bryant, I wanted to update you on last night. After you left, the Peterson family tried to work out an emergency payment arrangement. They managed to cover about half the costs, so we kept some services running for another hour. Just an hour? Yes, sir. The bar ran out of premium liquor. The band had to cut their set short, and we had to substitute the planned dinner menu with a much simpler option. Most guests left before 10 p.m. I felt a grim satisfaction hearing that. Victoria's perfect society wedding had turned into exactly the kind of embarrassment she'd been so worried about. The second call came from Nathan around noon. His voice sounded rough, like he hadn't slept. Dad, we need to talk. I'm listening. Victoria's family is furious. They're blaming me for not controlling the situation. Her father says I should have known you might do something like this. Should you have? A long pause. I didn't think you'd actually go through with it. I thought you were just upset about Mom not being invited. Just upset, I repeated. Nathan, your wife stole $35,000 from your mother. That's not a family disagreement. That's a felony. She says it was just temporary. She was going to pay it back after her trust fund kicked in next year. I rubbed my forehead. Even now, Nathan was making excuses for her. Son, if I took $35,000 from your restaurant without asking and said I'd pay it back next year, what would you call that? Another silence. Theft, he admitted quietly. Exactly. And that's what she did to your mother. The third call came that afternoon from someone I didn't recognize. A woman with a crisp professional voice. Mr. Bryant, this is Dorothy Williams from the Fraud Investigation Unit at First National Bank. We've reviewed the documentation you provided regarding the unauthorized account opened under your wife's name, and we're definitely pursuing criminal charges. The signature analysis confirms forgery, and the amount involved qualifies this as a felony. We'd like to schedule a meeting with you and your wife to provide formal statements. I scheduled the meeting for the following Tuesday. When I told Barbara, she looked nervous. What will we have to do? Just tell them exactly what happened? The bank will handle the rest. Will Victoria go to jail? I considered that question carefully. Probably not jail time for a first offense, but it'll go on her record. She'll have to make full restitution plus penalties, and her credit will be destroyed for years. Barbara nodded slowly. Good. Maybe that will teach her not to pick on elderly people. My wife might be gentle, but she's not naive. She understood exactly what Victoria had tried to do, minus to target an older couple who might not catch the fraud or might be too embarrassed to report it. Tuesday's meeting at the bank took 2 hours. Dorothy Williams walked us through every detail of the fraudulent application. The forged signature was obvious when you knew what to look for. Victoria had gotten the basic shape right, but missed the subtle details that make handwriting unique. How did she get enough information to apply? Barbara asked. Probably from wedding planning documents, Dorothy explained. Social security number, address, employment history. All that information was likely accessible to her during the planning process. She planned this, I realized. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment thing. She researched how to do it. Dorothy nodded. We see this pattern with financial abuse of elderly family members. It's usually premeditated. Walking out of the bank that day, I felt something I hadn't expected. Sadness. Not regret for what I'd done, but sadness that it had been necessary. Nathan was our only child. We'd hoped his wedding would bring our families together, not tear them apart. But Victoria had made her choice when she decided to steal from us. And Nathan had made his choice when he decided to let her. That evening, Barbara was unusually quiet during dinner. Finally, she set down her fork and looked at me. Howard, I've been thinking about the money. What about it? When we get it back from the settlement, I want to use it for something. What did you have in mind? She took a deep breath. I want to start a small fund to help women who've been financially abused by their families, especially older women who might not know how to fight back. I reached across the table and took her hand. I think that's a perfect idea. Barbara smiled for the first time since the wedding. We'll call it the Second Chance Foundation, because everyone deserves a second chance to stand up for themselves. 2 weeks later, Philip Anderson called with news about the lawsuit. Howard, Victoria's family wants to settle out of court. They're offering full restitution of the $35,000 plus legal fees and damages. How much total? They're proposing $45,000. It avoids a trial and gets you your money back faster. I discussed it with Barbara that night. She was in favor of settling. I don't need to see her in court, she said. I just want our money back and I want her to learn a lesson. We accepted the settlement 3 weeks after the wedding that never quite happened. We had our $45,000. More importantly, we had our dignity back. The criminal case moved forward separately. Victoria pled guilty to identity theft and financial fraud. She received 2 years probation, community service, and had to attend financial crime education classes. Her credit report would show the conviction for 7 years, but the real consequence was something money couldn't fix: her reputation. Word spread quickly through her social circle about what had happened. The same people she'd wanted to impress at her wedding were now talking about her fraud conviction. Turns out the country club crowd doesn't appreciate members who steal from elderly relatives. Nathan called me 2 months after the settlement. Dad, I need to tell you something. What's that? Victoria and I are getting divorced. I wasn't surprised, but I was curious. What happened? After the wedding disaster, her family blamed me for everything. They said I should have controlled you, should have seen it coming. Victoria started treating me like I was worthless because I couldn't solve the problem with money like her father always does. And I realized something. The way she treated you and Mom at the wedding, that's how she really sees people. Anyone who doesn't have money or status is just in the way. Nathan's voice got quieter. I saw how she looked at Mom like she was embarrassed to be related to her. Mom, who helped pay for my college, who came to every baseball game, who taught me how to be a decent person. Your mother loves you, Nathan. She always has. I know. That's why I'm calling. I want to come home for Sunday dinner. If you'll have me, Barbara cried when I told her. Happy tears this time. Of course he can come home, she said. He's our son. That first Sunday dinner was awkward. Nathan sat at our kitchen table looking like a scolded child. But gradually, over weeks of Sunday dinners, we started talking again. Really talking, not just being polite. I got caught up in Victoria's world. He admitted one evening all her talk about networking an image and making the right impression. I started thinking maybe you and Mom weren't sophisticated enough for that crowd, and now, Barbara asked gently, now I think that crowd isn't sophisticated enough for you. You two built a real life together. You've been married 35 years and still hold hands watching TV. Victoria's parents have been divorced twice each and haven't spoken to each other in 3 years, except through lawyers. The Second Chance Foundation became Barbara's full-time project. We started small, helping 3 women who'd been financially abused by family members. Barbara worked with a local attorney to help them understand their rights and navigate the legal system. Word spread. Within 6 months, we were helping a dozen women. Barbara had found her calling, and honestly, watching her help other people heal from financial abuse helped her heal too. Victoria left town about 4 months after the divorce was finalized. Last I heard, she was working at a car dealership in Phoenix. Turns out when you have a fraud conviction on your record, your career options get pretty limited pretty fast. Nathan kept his restaurant going and slowly started making it profitable. He learned to live within his means instead of trying to keep up with people who had trust funds. He met a nice woman named Lisa who's a teacher. She's coming to Sunday dinner next week, and Barbara's already planning what to cook. She sounds lovely. Barbara told Nathan last Sunday, and she wants to meet us, which is a good sign. Very different from Victoria, Nathan said. When I told Lisa about what happened at the wedding, she was horrified. She said anyone who'd treat your parents that way would treat you the same way eventually. Smart woman, this Lisa. People sometimes ask me if I regret what I did at the wedding. The answer is always no. When someone attacks your family, you defend them. When someone steals from you, you make them pay. When someone tries to make your wife feel worthless, you show them exactly how wrong they are. Victoria learned that respect isn't something you can buy and dignity isn't something you can take away. Nathan learned that loyalty to family matters more than social climbing, and Barbara learned that she's stronger than she ever realized. The Second Chance Foundation has helped 47 women now. We've recovered over $200,000 in stolen money and helped dozens of women understand their legal rights. Barbara speaks at senior centers about financial fraud awareness. She's become something of an expert on family financial abuse. The hardest part, she tells audiences, isn't the money, it's the betrayal. When your own family steals from you, it makes you question everything you believed about love and trust. Then she always adds, but you can get through it. You can fight back and you can win. As for me, I'm enjoying retirement more than I expected. Barbara and I are planning that Alaska trip we always talked about. We're using some of the settlement money for a nice cruise. Turns out the best revenge really is living well. Nathan comes to dinner every Sunday now, usually with Lisa. Sometimes they bring dessert, sometimes they help with dishes. Nathan never mentions Victoria, and we don't ask. Some chapters in life need to stay closed. But every time I see Nathan laugh at one of Barbara's stories, or watch him help clear the table without being asked, I know we got our son back. The real Nathan, not the one who got lost trying to impress people who weren't worth impressing. That's worth more than any wedding could ever be. Sometimes standing up for what's right means standing up to your own family. But if you don't stand up for the people you love, who will? Barbara and I learned that lesson the hard way, but we learned it together, and that's made all the difference. In the end, real wealth isn't measured by the size of your bank account or the fanciness of your wedding. It's measured by whether the people who matter most can count on you when it matters most. Family isn't about blood or marriage certificates. It's about who stands with you when the world tries to knock you down, and who you're willing to stand up for when they need you most.